You really need to check out these live brushes. They have both watercolor and oils, and they work a lot like the real thing. Let's check them out. They are the second icon on your toolbar. The icon is a little brush with a droplet next to it. I'll click on that, and it'll open up the Live Brushes panel. And in there, I have watercolor brushes I can choose from, or oil. Let's start with the watercolor and check it out. Alright, so I'm going to pick one of these brushes. I think I'll pick the watercolor, let's see, Wash Soft. And then I'm going to select this teal color and make my dab of my brush really large. And go ahead and put it down here. And notice that when I let go, the watercolor is still expanding. If you've ever worked with watercolor, this is one of the traits that makes it so amazing. And the other thing is when you mix. So let's mix a color. Let's do maybe a really light yellow or something. Okay, I'm going to do a light yellow here. Let's go close up. And when I let go, you'll notice that the way the watercolor is mixing is it's kind of blossoming and spreading out with the water in there. That's a natural world effect that, that I've been just waiting for a digital paintbrush to do. And here we go. So let's try a different color. Let's try maybe this purpley color or magenta. And you can see how it's like this fuzzy edge where it's bleeding into it. That's what they call it in watercolor. It bleeds into the other color and spreads out and blossoms. Now, if I want to help encourage this, there's these little water droplets in here where I can increase the flow. Now, I already have the flow pretty high, but I could do something else where I go to the color panel and instead of 100% paint, go all the way to 0, where all that is going to be left on my paintbrush is water, and I can add water to it to help increase the flow. I'm going to go along the edges first, and notice how I let go, and it's pulling out where I left the digital or virtual water. I'm going to try over on these edges. See how that's happening? It's pretty incredible. I think it is important that if you're going to be an artist to try some real traditional tools, because then you will really appreciate this. And let's do like maybe in the center here where it's the colors. Let's see if I can get the colors to kind of bleed into each other. It's starting to happen. I'll increase the flow of the water to 100%. There we go. Oh yeah, I love that. It's, as far as I can tell, it seems very random and non-digital. It seems very natural, and I just love it. Let's do some of the splatters here. There's also a splatter brush in here. Let's do the wet splatter and add some of those. Now, I'm on clear, so I need to move that back up to 100% of the paint. And I think I'll do a deep blue spatter. Okay, and then let's see what size I have. Okay, let's try it. And see the spatters inside the wet paint. It's like the paint is staying wet. And then when I add in here it continues to act like it's wet paint. That is pretty remarkable. And then out here, the splatter is a little bit different where it's hitting supposedly the dry paper, right? And then, let's see, I'll put a little spatter in there. Let's try maybe an orange splatter. So this watercolor is staying wet and allowing me to rework into it and use it with those natural capabilities that you would expect with real watercolor. And then if you want to dry it, there's actually a way you can dry it. You go over to the watercolor layer here and you say dry layer. It has a little fan there. You just press it. And now it's like you went and put a blow dryer over it and dried it out so that it's not so wet when you go to work in it. Let's try it now. Okay, so now it did smear it there. Now let's find out. Now it doesn't, it's more like I'm laying wet watercolor on top of a dry watercolor. It's not re-wetting it. So that gives you an opportunity to layer your watercolors in different ways. So I can keep it wet or I can dry it. And then, let's see here. Once I've dried it, I don't believe I can undry it. No, all I did was dry the other layer. So keep that in mind. If you want to keep it wet or if you want to dry it and have different effects happening, that's what you can do. Pretty remarkable stuff. Have fun. Try those watercolor brushes out. And then if you haven't used real watercolor, like the ones I have up here, get a cheap set and try it out. And then go back to your digital brushes. You will just be thrilled.